I have been feeling very disconnected recently, mainly from myself and from, I suppose, like the purposes that I want to achieve, that I feel drawn to achieve. And a lot of that has come from being overly connected into social media in an unhealthy way, as I'm sure many of you can relate. And so I felt like I needed to find a really tangible solution to give my soul what it's been longing for a very long time. I really felt like just having a day off social media or limiting to just 1 hour a day, and that while those are super helpful, I feel as though it wasn't quite enough, you know? I kind of feel like it's more than just wanting to disconnect from doing something that isn't that meaningful to me. That's just one part of it. It's more about finding ways to reconnect with what is of value. I used to travel by myself quite a bit, and I used to really prioritise journaling and healing practices and such like, but over the last few months, maybe even the last couple of years, I don't feel as though that has been as much of a priority. And so I've realised that if I want to have those processing times, I need to carve it out. I need to get away and be intentional about it. And so here I am in the middle of the beautiful Argyll and Bute countryside, staying in a tiny little 1-bedroom cottage with absolutely nothing around but nature and beauty and silence. So this retreat is in part actually going to be part of a project I'm working on, so it's not entirely holiday. I chose this location so that I could do some filming for a mini documentary that I'm going to release on this channel in the next month or two. Or I might post the documentary first. I'll just see how I go with editing and scheduling which video I feel like is ready first. I'm only here for 3 nights, so it's basically 1 day walking and filming, and then the next day is the real retreat side of things, where I'm going to do a lot of journaling. I'm going to do some yoga probably, and lots of nice walks out in nature. Lots of time praying, reading the Bible, just seeking God for the next season. Most of all, just learning or relearning to be content in silence and solitude. I've been quite nervous about coming because I've got so used to just a constant chatter. Even when I am by myself in the flat, I almost always have a podcast on in the background or videos playing while I do the dishes, and I've found it really uncomfortable to switch off. It feels difficult. And I think part of the reason for that is because there are things that I need to process and things that I need to work through that I need to give myself proper space to do. So it'll be a good time. I already feel a lot of relief just being here in the peace and the quiet. I will miss Peter, of course, but I do think it's important, even when married, to have times where you can, just be alone with yourself for a little bit and know yourself better and recharge. So I am going to give you a wee tour of the cottage to begin with, and then I'm probably not going to film any more today because I do want to limit the extent to which I've got the camera on. But tomorrow I'll obviously be filming for this project. I'll show you some snippets, but not all of it again, because that's for a video that's coming out at a different point in time. And then for the final day, I'll show you snapshots to give you an idea of what the solo retreat is looking like, and also to kind of show you a bit of my plan to give me a wee bit of accountability so that I spend my time as well as I can. But I'm not going to sit and have the camera on throughout an entire journaling session or through a prayer time or whatever, because I feel like those times do need to be protected and just for me. But it was still important, even though I don't want to overdo the technology, that I shared this and documented this experience, because I think it's something valuable that hopefully will inspire you to take some time for yourself to process and be in nature and just switch off for a little bit in this crazy, crazy world that we live in. Okay, let's go and check out the cottage. I've never seen a cottage so neat and compact as the Nan's, with its wee path leading up to a bright red door, giving a slightly hobbit hole type feel to it. Just off the entryway there was a wee bathroom, which was quite chilly when I needed to go in the middle of the night, but there was also an electric shower and a heated towel rail, which came in very handy after a particularly sodden walk. The rest of the cottage was all contained in one room, with a dividing wall creating a separate cooking and sleeping area. The kitchen was very cottagecore, with its open shelving, egg basket, vintage coffee grinder and rose garden view. And the living room was cosy as anything, wood burning stove and all, with a healthy selection of books and movies, board games, jigsaw puzzles, a couple of squishy armchairs, and not the slightest drop of Wi-Fi. I would say that the wee windows didn't let a huge amount of light in, particularly as the cottage was slightly nestled into the hill, but once the wood burner was on and the candles lit in the evenings, it was very well insulated and a decidedly homey environment. The bedroom was really much more like a recess, with the bed taking up the entire space, and what I loved most of all was being able to wake up right next to a window to get some fresh air and daylight first thing in the morning. See you tomorrow. Good morning. It is about 9 o'clock in the morning and I am just coming up to Arichonan. If I'm out of breath, I have not been walking as long as it probably sounds like. My hosts very kindly gave me a lift over, which I'm very pleased about because it means I'm not going to miss the beautiful morning light, but I will have a long hike on the way back, which I'm very much looking forward to. But at least this means that I can get my filming for today done early in the morning. It is drizzling a little bit, but not too intense, and the wind is coming and going, so I do hope that I'll be able to use my drone a little bit, even if I can find a wee interval of a few minutes to use it for. That would be wonderful. The weather's pretty mild, it's not too bad. I don't know what else to say, so I'm just going to keep walking and show you the site when I get to it. People say that it's a very special place, so I'm really looking forward to experiencing the atmosphere and just taking some time of reflection. because it's also quite a harrowing tale that accompanies this place that I'm going to. Arichonan, and yes, I did mispronounce it earlier in the video, is an abandoned croft village in the Scottish Highlands. If you haven't already seen it, go watch the 5-minute documentary I made about it, which I'll link at the end of the video. So I arrived here and it was looking very beautiful, and then it started to rain. So I'm currently sheltering under some of the croft ruins, and I'm just going to sit here and basically wait until the rain stops, because I can't really do much filming while the rain's going on. Could be another 10 minutes, could be half an hour, but as soon as it starts to stop I'm going to be up and filming, because who knows when the next rainstorm is going to come afterwards. But in the meantime I'm testing out my microphone, which I'm hiding in here, so let me know if you think the audio works, and I'll hopefully be able to get to filming soon. How's this? Does this work? Let's start again. So I am here in Argyll on a very dreich day. It's raining again. So I did manage to get most of my filming done, but it's got super windy and super rainy all over again. So I'm just gonna hang out again for a while, because I've not managed to get any photos yet. And it's a very beautiful location to take a drone footage in, and I also think that it'll give a much more of a sense of place. Oh my goodness, it's getting wild! Okay, I'm going to turn this off for now and find somewhere to shelter until the rain goes off, which it hopefully will. I've just realised I've still got my microphone on. You can probably hear me chomping. I'm so sorry. That's not very polite of me. I think that it's dying down a bit. It's hard to say for sure, but I can see that the clouds are moving on, and I can see some sunlight shining through the clouds over there. So if they just keep moving, then hopefully soon I'll be able to get my drone out. I just need the wind to move the clouds along and then to stop. That would be wonderful. I think I've been waiting about 20 minutes or half an hour, so we'll see. Hopefully. I realise that there will come a point where I might need to just give up, because it gets dark very early here, and I really don't want to be walking home in the dark. So I don't know, I might wait until about midday, and then if the weather's still rubbish, then just call it a day and just content myself with the footage that I do have. The documentary tells a very harrowing yet oft forgotten tale of a part of Scottish history that's had a big impact on the Western world. Walking amongst the ruins of such history was eerie, but in a peaceful graveyard sort of way. I find that reaching back into the past to remember the times is an invaluable way to gain perspective on the present. Now the walk back ended up taking me about 3 or 4 hours, and I was completely drenched, yet somehow being out in the middle of nowhere with hardly a soul around, surrounded and soaked through by nature, I felt more free and alive than I had in a long time. I also challenged myself to make my way back purely by using the map, which I did manage for most of the way, though I did have to ask for directions and check Google Maps one time towards the end. But overall I was very pleased with myself that I managed to make it all the way home. The lack of internet and other external stimuli caused me to go to bed much earlier than usual, so I also woke early and ventured out into a pale blue morning. As is the case for many people, it is alone in nature that I am most myself, which is to say, nature reminds me who God is and of my place in His world. There is a peace to be found in blessed smallness.
It began at the beginning, where I stood with you in the night. It begins, the light from the middle, where I first saw you with my eyes. The road ahead, it was my road back. I take it all the way, the way, the way to you. When I return to center, I return to center. I return to center again and again and again. I was alone, I was awake, I was new here, I was real.
The remainder of the day held the simple delights of good food, reading, journaling, and candlelit yoga.
When I wake, I know you are with me in the dark. I can almost see you clearly. Every day you sing it over me like water. My love runs free. Oh, there is nothing like your love. There is nothing and no one above. Oh, come be with us. Oh.
As the evening drew in, I lit candles on a fire, warming my hands and heart in the melody of flickering light. I've only recently learned how to light fires, so it took a couple of days to get the technique right, but by the final evening my soul was settled like a weary pilgrim sinking into a chair by the comforting blaze. I wish this retreat had been longer, but I'm so grateful for even the brief respite I had, and I will definitely be returning in the future. To join me for future pilgrimages, both at home and on the road, tap the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. But until next time, it was lovely to have you here.